All right, hello, everybody. Welcome back. My name is Drew Moholland, live at Drew's house, another edition. Hope everybody's doing well out there. Lighting's a little different today. I'll adjust a little bit. Not as good without Sarah here. You see this? It's the problem without Sarah here. Back at school for her, so she's a little bit busier these days. I'm having to roll by myself for a lot of these shows, so here we go. Luckily, I have another great guest today, though. A return guest on the show. Haven't had him on this particular version of the show from my kitchen, but I have had him back at the old studios in Newburyport. My guest today is a man who's going to get you ready for Patriots football. Can you believe it? It is here. Football season has arrived tonight, game one, and then the Patriots play Sunday. So fantastic stuff. Going to bring in Bill Burt of the Eagle Tribune, man who's been there forever, done a great job for the Eagle Tribune newspaper, covered everything, hung out with Bill Belichick, all that good stuff. Real good interview. So enough about me. Let's get to Bill Burt. Here we go. All right, so Bill Burt from the Eagle Tribune joins us, who I just talked with for a second off the air, literally a second, and he already got one dig in on me. What was it, Bill? Go ahead.
Well, I was concerned. I was, going to shower, but I do want to go for a run in a little bit. And then I was worried about how I was going to look, maybe unshaven and whatnot. Then I saw your photo, and I'm good.
What we call this here, Bill, is pandemic hair is what this is.
That's not called pandemic hair. That's called, I don't really care what I look like right now, but I'm doing a great web Zoom meeting with probably one of the best writers in Boston. Whatever. I'm just kidding.
Very nice, very nice. Well, first of all, it's been a little while. Let's start off with that. How you been? How's quarantine doing? I know we're kind of getting out and about during the summer and into the fall here, but how's it all been, this pandemic?
So, to be honest with you, it hasn't really affected me much in terms of my job. The stories are there. To be honest with you, I'm a story guy. I'm not a game guy. The games do start Sunday. I am going. I'll be one of probably, I'm assuming, about 25, 30 media people there. But I am more story-driven, always have been. So the stories are there. You got to look for them sometimes. You got to look under rocks, make some phone calls. The person-to-person contact, which I do like in person, those are sort of the better interviews where you see someone in action, you see their eyes, you see, their reaction. That I do miss that, but I will say the stories for the most part have been, and that's what sort of makes me tick, have been good. They've been there. So that part of it's been good. The rest, working from home, I do have, some form of ADHD. I assume that adult form. I got to leave for 20 minutes. I got to go for a run. I got to go to the store when I don't need anything. I do little things like that, but that part I miss. I do miss going to the office. And I was just away in Houston for the weekend visiting. We were visiting our son. And I just was tested this morning, so I'm self-quarantining here for a little bit before I should know within a few hours. I'm assuming everything's going to be good before I maybe do stop in the office. We have a football contest. I'm getting that going. We have a football preview. We have a special section on the Patriots, which has been completed. It runs on Friday. So I've been very busy. All
right, couple questions. I'm going to get to the football in a minute, but what test did you do for the COVID?
The deep nose. Beth Israel in Boston, and great hospital. It's I've been going to them for probably about more than 10 years now. And the one thing is they're still doing the old test, and it hurts. Yeah. It's about 10 seconds of hell, but it's quick. I pull in, I get the test, and a minute later I'm out of there and I'm back on the way home. It's not like you're going to maybe a CVS where you're waiting half hour in line. And then, they're taking 20 minutes to process the information. I'm an in and out kind of guy. So this was literally, I pulled in and 2 minutes later, I was on the way home. So, but I've had, this is my third test. So I think and I feel good. So we'll see.
That's your third test right there?
I've had 3 tests since the pandemic started. We went to New Orleans about 6 weeks ago. And then I had a test that I hadn't felt good in fact, when this all started, I was with the Red Sox down in Florida, and I came home and had felt lousy like 2 days later, and was really not feeling well for 10 days. And at the tail end got tested and found out I didn't have it and I didn't have the antibodies. So it was just a cold. So, so far so good. So it's been March. We're talking, 7+ months. I wear masks, I wash my hands. So for the most part, I follow the guidelines.
And what is the Eagle Tribune newsroom like? Is there anybody going in it?
Yeah, couple of editors and a couple of reporters, more news reporters on live news. The feature writers, they're all home. Most of the people putting the paper together are doing it from home. As we're finding out, you're probably finding out as well, we can do, you can probably do 80% of your job from home. You miss, again, the contact, you miss the sort of the banter. In our business, banter is important. We get ideas, we throw ideas off people and they throw them back. And then all of a sudden you maybe change a course of a story or an idea of a story, how to research it. And we get that from sort of being around. I do miss that because it's more of, I come up with an idea, I make the call, I'll call someone else, I'll write the story, and a couple people will look at the story, edit it per se, but it's not the same. I do like, and again, like I said, I got to be active, and I like joking around with people, as you probably know, and so I do miss a little of that.
It's funny. I don't know if the numbers will tangibly show this when it's all said and done, but like I was talking to a good friend of mine the other day, never really a newspaper guy, but he goes, I got to tell you, working at home now, I start my day with a coffee. I just slow down a little bit more. I get a little more time. I read the newspaper every morning now. And I thought that was kind of an interesting thing. I wonder if that's a common theme right now.
That's interesting. So the actual paper, again, I think anyone under my age it was 30, then it was 35. Now it's like 45. If you're under 45, I believe you do not touch paper. And, I'm 59, just turned 59. And it's for me, I still like it, but it's harder to get. I mean, I was in Houston and, the Saturday paper was $4. And I'm saying $4. I mean, do I get a bowl of soup with this? Do I get a pizza? And so that's another issue, but I still like the paper. I like the coffee. What I'm finding is though, I do run around a little bit. I go for a run, but I'm working as hard, if not harder, I think, from home. And cutting the travel time. I don't have much travel time. My wife, hour and a half to Cambridge, hour and a half home. She's been working from home for the whole time. So way more productive, I believe.
Very interesting. And my last non-football one, because you mentioned you were in Houston to see your son, who's got some serious baseball game. Why don't you fill in the listeners on that?
Well, his situation is he's living with 3 other Yankees. So he was drafted in 2018. One of the fellow that was drafted in the second round, his name's Josh Breaux, a catcher out of Texas, Cypress, Texas. He bought a home. When you're drafted second, you get a couple of $1 million, and he bought a home. And the plan was to go there during the off season, this off season, starting like October, November, December, work out together, because Houston, come to find out, is baseball heaven in terms of major leaguers and minor leaguers. Tons of them out there. They live there. And a lot of, baseball in Texas, football is number one, but baseball is a close second, not basketball. So there's the opportunity to be around people is so much better. Great facility out there. A great workout facility in terms of strength and conditioning, baseball centric. So what he's finding is it's 90 degrees every single day, very humid. I mean, I got up one morning, 6:30, go for a run, thinking it's going to be 65, 70 degrees. It was 92 degrees. And so it's different out there. But for baseball, that's what you want. You want the hotter, the better. Your body's more apt to be to stretch and feel loose. So for him, it's a great place. He was planning to do it anyway. And when COVID went down and the training, they sent the players home. the three guys went, and it's a great group of guys. They all think they're going to make the major leagues, and it's great to be around them. I met them. I've known them all, but I really got to know them over the last couple of days. One of them's a local kid from up in Merrimack, New Hampshire, Mickey Gasper, who we do know really well, went to Bryant University. But the others got to know them well, and I left saying, wow, these guys are pushing each other. And you don't get that back here as much because you got to find a guy in Burlington. You got to find an indoor facility maybe. It's just harder. So for us, it was a great weekend. And great to see him and my son Max. And so we'll see. He's got a lot happening. Hopefully they're going to work out. Some teams are talking about getting together the minor leaguers at the minor league facilities in late September, maybe October, but that hasn't been decided yet.
Crazy, because they washed away all the minor league ball. So that must have been like kind of crazy news to get as you're just kind of making this move into the leagues.
125 games gone. And that's the one thing, he's missed, and they've all missed at bats. You got to get the at bats. There's so much you can do in a cage, in a field, in BP, and even, live pitching. It's not the same. You don't run. My son's more of a, I don't want to say 5-tool player, but he's a player and not just a hitter. And so that's a part that has been missing. But if they do something for a month, maybe 5-6 weeks, scrimmage, live games, maybe place some other teams that are close by. The Yankees are in Tampa. They're right across the street from where Tom Brady's going to be playing. And so if they can do something, that would make it seem like 30 or 40 games or something like that. I think that would cover it. Winter baseball is also an option, and the problem is that hasn't been decided yet because of COVID. Two options, good options, are Puerto Rico and Australia, and waiting to hear on both of those in terms of what opportunities are going to be.
Well, so he's taking it all in stride, though. He's got a good demeanor. You must be happy.
I'm so proud of him. There's been a couple moments where he's wanted to jump off, walk off the plank, and I've had to pull him back because this is his job. He's just turned 24. He's ready. This was supposed to be a big year, AA, possibly have a big year, maybe get called up, maybe next year, full spring training with the big team, so you don't know. That's the tough part. And doing the same thing every day can pile up. And that's sort of my job as a dad, I think, and this with my son, basically being sort of a baseball psychologist. Hey, relax, couple of bad days, couple of this, couple of that. And, but he's been remarkable. And a lot of them have really fought through this. I'm sort of interested to see how all the rest of the players, how they all survived, and did they get better? Did they work on things? Because, it's a year away from games is tough in any sport.
Certainly. And your son's name again, too, just so we can watch him?
Max Burt,
Burt, all right.
Northeastern graduate, 2018. And, he's a piece of work. He's a little piece of work.
Well, we'll look for him, and we wish him all the best. Now, let's talk a little bit of football, because here we are. NFL season kicks off. Let's talk Patriots, though, because honestly, I think that's the most interesting story in the league right now. What are we going to see? Cam Newton, quarterback. We don't know what the offense is going to look like. This is crazy.
Well, I think that there's a lot of interesting stories, but the Patriots are definitely at the top. Look, there is a euphoria right now. Cam Newton's happy. Belichick has said nice things about him. Yes, and it does have that feel of this is going to just continue, this dynasty. I'm not so sure just yet. And they don't have really an elite wide receiver. And I'm putting Edelman more as a slot. He's the best slot guy, in my opinion, probably that ever lived. But they don't have that deep threat guy, which I think is important. I am interested in the Patriots and see how Cam Newton, we're going to see a different kind of quarterback. We're going to see a guy that's going to run a lot. I was down, 3 or 4 times down during training camp, and he definitely are going to be plays called for him to run the football. But it's going to take time. it is calculus, as Cam Newton said. It's going to take time to, I think, get this offense down. I think his mentality, A+. I think he's accepted and humbled by this experience. That part's good. I have some questions about the Patriots, more on defense. The linebackers, you lose 3 linebackers, and 2 of them are named captain. We just heard on the Miami Dolphins. You just don't replace that. I know the back end looks like it's very good. Cornerback, defensive back, safety, special, but I question linebacker, which is, I think, an interesting position. I'm really high on Bentley. I'm really high on Chase Winovich. So, but they're young and they have never had any responsibility at all. So to expect them to be very good without really veteran influence around, that's a lot to ask. I think, though, that's where Belichick's going to take over this team. He's going to try to build a defense, and it's not going to be overnight. I don't like this Sunday against Miami. I think it's going to be an ugly kind of win. I think the Patriots do win, but I do believe this is going to be a process. And I think the people in New England, the fans who are used to precision and good look, they were 8-0 last year to start the season. That's not happening this year. So if they're 3-3, 4-2, and getting better, and then by November this defense gets its act together, this could be a good team and could be scary, because I think coaching is going to be very, very important this shortened season without all the mini camps, all the, running basically Zoom meetings. This is hard, but this is where having a coach who's got direction and discipline and obviously I think the players respect that. I think the Patriots have an edge there because of Belichick.
You have, again, we're joined here by Bill Burt of the Eagle Tribune. You've covered Bill Belichick his whole career here. Mm-hmm. And I wonder, you've had some one-on-one time with him. I remember you told me a few fun stories. You've got to know him pretty well. Give me a little bit the psychology coming into a year like this for him. He's lost his guy that he rode, 2 decades with here in Tom Brady. I heard him, he called into the college football game the other night and was chatting it up. He seemed all happy. I'm like, wait, what? Who is this guy?
This is a different dude. I'm going to tell you, it's happened over the last couple of years. It started, I believe, when he became a grandfather, and his eldest son Stephen had a daughter, and so the development. I mean, we also look at the commercial he put out. I mean, it's funny, Subway, and it's unlike him to do this, because he'd be more of a guy, I think, if he saw a player do it and the player struggles, he'd say, hey, what are you worried about your commercials for? Well, we got a football game. Now, obviously, we all have more time in our hands to do the kind of thing that he did. But I think he's ready for this. I really do. I think this is and he seems like losing Tom Brady. And I wrote this, in fact, today. Yesterday. That there is some semblance of, and I don't want to make it seem like ding dong, the Wicked Witch is dead, which is, we all take a deep breath now. We can stop, walk. But in essence, Brady, I don't want to say it was high maintenance, but, Brady did his thing. And I think Belichick had to give in more than he really wanted to. He doesn't have to do that anymore. This is all, we're back to being 2001 Bill Belichick, and where he makes all of the decisions and he doesn't really ask anyone. And I think this is really his comfort zone. And he likes the teaching part. He likes that Cam is not is going to take some time here. Is not a finished product. This is something he can develop. Look, every coach almost on the staff, the successful ones, they started out as ball boys, literally, and they worked their way up. That's where he's most comfortable, and I think that's the team here. Again, this is not a Super Bowl team. I'm not saying they couldn't win it, but because of this crazy year, they could. But this is not a Super Bowl team, and I think he's comfortable building as much as he was in all the great teams he had. And so that's why it's funny you said that, because I think we're seeing a sort of a new and improved, maybe new and improved that we saw with Tom Coughlin his last couple of years with the Giants. And you know what? They won 2 Super Bowls. And he was told by the owner, you don't, enjoy this a little more and let others here enjoy it a little more. You're not going to be around long. And we saw it with him. He won 2 Super Bowls. So we'll see.
Interesting stuff. That's what I've always found most fascinating about Belichick. And maybe you can tell me what you find most fascinating, but attention to detail on all these things. Like, I love the game, but he thinks of stuff that, like, I would just never even think of. Like, I heard him, one of the first things that came to mind at a press conference the other day, talking about the kicking situation. He's like, well, the ball travels a little different in New England, because of the weather. And I'm like, never would have thought, it's a kicker. Who kicks it through the uprights? You don't think about that stuff, but in his mind, these things make a huge difference.
Every little thing, wind, every stadium, they're looking at wind currents. They have studies on every single stadium, the outdoor stadiums. They check footing. He knows what fields are. They lay the dirt down. He knows. So they're looking at creases, little things. And he's been doing that his whole life, to be honest with you. So not a surprise. That's not surprising at all. And look, New England, let's be honest, in November and December, wind and cold and potential weather becomes an issue. So that's where kicking, I don't think he's into the 56-yard guys. He's more into the 44-yard guys. And that's what I think, what he thought he was getting with Justin Rohrwasser, and what he's got with Nick Folk. Nick Folk is rock solid from 40 in. He's a flip of the coin from 50 in, but he's rock solid, and that's what he's looking for, consistency. Go back to when Parcells brought Matt Barr in here in 1996, the Super Bowl season. He brought him in. What was the year he brought him in? 94, 96. When before Vinatieri came in, he brought him in because he wants guys that he can guarantee. He doesn't need the exciting stuff. He wants the guys he can depend on. He doesn't want any guesswork, and I think that's really, and I think Belichick probably got a lot of that from Parcells. So a lot of different ways. Belichick is, and that's why I think coaching, I said this, I'm repeating myself, but coaching is more important now in 2020, this season, than it ever, and it's always been important. It's been more important now.
2-part question here, because obviously in the NFL, if you don't have a quarterback, you're not going anywhere. Seems like the Patriots have one. But I wonder, one, in your opinion, you kind of hinted at this, but just a straightforward answer, was Tom Brady kind of a pain in the neck for the coach here, for the coaching staff? And 2.
Okay, so back to my point, what I wrote about yesterday was, I think what's happened is, so last year was a bad year.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this year, which is the worst year in the history of the planet for us, 2020, COVID. I say for the Patriots, cannot be worse than last year. They started out 8-0, went 4-5 the next 9 games. Brady was not likable. And I'll never forget, I was down there for the Philadelphia win on Sunday. I think it was Sunday night. Great win. He didn't play great, but he made some big plays, and after the game, it was as if he had lost. It was as if they had lost the Super Bowl, and he was grumpy. And I thought he was sick because it was cold and windy. It was a bad weekend and weather-wise in Philadelphia. And no, he was just upset, and he's not happy with the game plan. He's not happy with not having the weapons, and that's what I think we're dealing with a lot last year. And so again, that's gone. But, you still won 8. You 8-0 to start the season. You're not 8-0 with Cam Newton. And so let's not make believe everything's going to get way better. It's not. I would say in a year like this, you'd rather have Brady think of Brady with this offense. See, Brady doesn't leave. I'm picking the Patriots to win the Super Bowl this year. I'm all in if he didn't leave and him and Belichick came to some agreement, because having this offense where everyone knows where they're supposed to go for the most part, having, a guy like N'Keal Harry, a second year, having, Jacoby Myers second year, maybe get one other wide receiver, maybe get a tight end. All of a sudden, you've got everyone knowing what they're supposed to do. They didn't need all those mini camps that other teams needed. So that's where this year is going to be important. But look, Brady was not easy to deal with last year. I'm not going to blame him totally because, you win 6 Super Bowls, you go to 9, you win a bunch of MVPs. You probably expect a little special treatment, and at the end, he wasn't getting it around here. And I think he wanted to be more involved in the offense. I think he wanted to be involved in calling plays, just like Peyton Manning always has been in his entire career, and he wasn't getting that with Belichick.
Interesting stuff. And, Cam Newton comes in, and I wonder, 1, does this end well? And 2, he's got this flair. He's different than Brady. He's got that big smile. Everything about him is big, really, if you think about it. When you talk about Cam Newton, like just from seeing him on the practice field, what is he really like? What do people is that what it is out there? This jovial guy trying to uplift everybody, or what's the deal with him?
Look, he's a different cat. I just always have thought that. But he's been I'm giving him all the credit in the world. He has come into this humbled, and he's accepted his role. He's accepted that he doesn't know much. He has said all the right things, but he seems like he really means it. And I'm going to give him a lot of credit because I will say this: he didn't have a lot of options, and that's why it came down to New England. But he also knows this year is big for the rest of his career and potentially his legacy. If the Patriots go 7-9 and he's decent, he's gone, and Stidham's going to be the quarterback next year. If they go 10-6 or even 9-7, make the playoffs, win a playoff game, maybe, lose a close game to Tennessee in the division championship kind of thing, all of a sudden we're talking, wow, there's something to build on. There's light at the end of the tunnel. And, this athletic quarterback, this is interesting. There's some things we can do here that we weren't able to do with Brady. The players seem to really like especially the receivers, but the team seems to really rally around him, which they didn't really do that with Brady. They just believed in Brady. Brady, again, maybe the last couple of years wasn't the Brady from the previous decade or even previous 2 decades. So Cam Newton is going to be different. I'm not all in. I don't think he looked great. The camp games, practices, that I saw. He seemed to make similar mistakes. He tries to throw balls in between 5 people, and he gets away with it a lot. But for me personally, I'm just going to wait a while. I think it's going to work out. And I think it's going to work out because I know how good of an athlete he is. And I know that this system, they will have a system in for him where he will be able to succeed. The key is, you don't want to depend on him to go 10-6. You want him to help you go 10-6. And by that, I mean, you got to run the ball, very good offensive line, and defensively, again, I think we saw the Patriot game, the Super Bowl win over the Rams. If Belichick could have a perfect game, it would be that game. Yeah. It was defensively, they were immense, and they held a great offense to 3 points. And they made plays. They pressured the quarterback. They stopped the run. And I think that's really what – and they also special teams was pretty good too. But I think that's that's the football Belichick likes to play. He likes to be in control, and you can be in control if your defense is great. And so I think that's the hope for. So Cam Newton doesn't have to be the best player, at least yet, if they're going to win, at least – to move in the right direction. If they're going to win a Super Bowl, Cam's going to have to be very, very good. And I'm just not ready to say that yet.
Network television is cringing about the idea of another defensive Super Bowl that you just spelled out right there. Right?
Yeah, look. The one thing we talk about Brady, when we go back to that Super Bowl, Brady did not do much in that game. In fact, he threw a bad interception, I think, on the first drive. But he threw that one great pass to Gronk. Had a couple passes to Edelman setting up that play. And that's all it took. But if you remember, the week before in Kansas City, they don't get to the Super Bowl if Brady doesn't do what he did in the fourth quarter in overtime. He was epic. That was as good a Brady as we ever saw. It was the Atlanta comeback Brady. And he beat he beat the great quarterback, best quarterback in the NFL at his own game. I mean, they won the toss, but he won. He beat Mahomes. He beat Mahomes straight up. And so, I don't think we're going to see that, though. The Patriots would rather be a 24-20 kind of team, 20-17, 20-16. That's the Patriots I think Belichick is looking to create this year. And, at that point, you just need Cam Newton to make a few plays. He doesn't have to be Superman. They don't need Superman right now.
And just real quickly, too, people are going to want to turn on this game and wonder, are we going to be looking to control the clock? Are we going to see a hurry-up offense? Are we going to be handing the ball off? Is Cam going to be taking it out of the shotgun and running? What's your best guess on that?
So interesting. You're going to see all of that, but I think controlling the clock is going to be important. Running the football. I'll go back. I think in the playoffs in 2018, when they beat the Rams in Kansas City and San Diego, I believe they ran for 8 touchdowns in 3 games. So that's called ball control. Remember, last year against Tennessee, their 1st and goal at the 1, and they couldn't score. They couldn't run the ball in. Now, if they did run the ball in, they would have won that game, and then they would have played Baltimore for the AFC Championship, but they couldn't. So, not Baltimore, it would have been the second round. But the point is, the Patriots, they're at their best when they're running the football, and we're not going to ask Cam to do too much. Again, I'll go back to defense, 20-16. That's a Belichick win. That's what Belichick's looking for this year.
Crazy. All right. Well, Bill Burt, you told me you're going to be one of 25 media members, probably best guest in that stadium come Sunday.
Yep.
That has got to be weird. I don't even know what that's going to feel like watching an NFL football game with no fans in the stands. What's just your take on that whole ordeal?
So that's what I'm going to write about. So I have Max Cerullo, who's the Report News sports editor, who's in our consortium, and he's done a great job doing the nitty-gritty football stuff for us and with the NFL. But I'm interested in just the odds. Las Vegas makes odds, and they make the odds. Usually, they kept them pretty much as if home field advantage. Now, is there really a home field advantage if there's no fans? Is sleeping in a bed, a foreign bed, does that mean a game switches 6 points the other way? I don't know. That's really what's going to strike me. Does it feel like a home game and a road game? And what's it like? So that's probably what I'm going to be writing about, as well as, touching on obviously elements of the game, but how it's going to be weird. I don't know. I know they're going to put crowd noise in, which will probably help a little bit. We watch the NBA games in the NHL. It does, watching from home, it sounded as if, there were fans there. So we'll see how that works. I am interested. I don't know. I don't know. Remember, these are 80, 70, 60, 80,000 seat stadiums. This isn't like a 6,000 seat or even 14,000 arena. This is going to be interesting. And I've seen college football do it, but some college teams let some fans in. No fans here. So I'm interested as you are.
Although I do believe the difference between the NBA is I think that is more made for TV, where you're hearing that sound noise in the NHL. I think at the football stadiums, I think they're going to blast the PA cheering. I think is what I believe is going to happen.
Yes, they're going to do that. But you say made for TV. Football's made for TV, and it always has been. And it's just so much easier to watch a football game than it is to go, drive, get in, go through all the rigmarole, which is, it's nothing like the atmosphere. But football's made for TV. We're going to see if it's really, truly made for TV this coming Sunday.
True. This is the real test. No tailgating, too. I just thought of that as you said driving in. How about no grills, no people bringing coolers into the parking lots?
I'm interested to watch the ratings, which, NBA was down. I think the NHL was up a little bit because, for the NFL especially, we're talking that's 70,000 people. Not that that's going to, make the ratings go off the roof if you do that at 16 stadiums, which is what you do every weekend. But I'm really interested to see the ratings of the NFL games. It doesn't feel like a typical NFL season. So if I said, wow, this is incredible, it doesn't. There's definitely a lower layer to, but we'll see. We'll see what the fans do. The red zone, we get the red zone here, which is a ball on, if I'm not at a road game, I do like watching the red zone. So it's going to be interesting. If I had to guess, I think it's going to be weird, and it's going to be something that, like the NBA, I think we're going to sort of develop an appreciation for it maybe within 2 or 3 weeks. And this is pretty cool. I can do this, but I think at the beginning it's going to be a little disjointed.
And for the people that didn't watch any of the college football, that game Monday night I watched, I actually found it fascinating hearing all those players on the sidelines, and you get an idea of how much noise is being made from the sidelines. Every big hit, every first down. It's I thought that was pretty cool.
That was intense. That was great. I agree with you 100%. So I'm excited. This is for me. We're going to get out. I'll be at the game. I'll be in Foxborough on Sunday, 1:00 against the Miami Dolphins. I like the Patriots to beat the Dolphins, but Fitzpatrick, he's a pain in the butt here for New Englanders. So we'll see. But I know Belichick has been talking to the team about Miami and he showed a lot of tape of the last 2 years. They've blown 2 big games against Miami. I mean, they beat Miami last year. All of a sudden they're home, they win the division, they're one of the top 2 seeds. I mean, they're second seed, they get a bye. Miami has cost them a lot. And I know they've also talked a little bit. They talked a lot after beating the Patriots. And I know those clippings are still hanging around. Gilmore was embarrassed. Probably worst game as a Patriot, played that game, last year against Miami Dolphins. So Patriots have, a lot to play for. It is a division game. You lose this game, your playoff, the playoffs don't look good for the Patriots. This is the kind of game you have to win. So.
All right. Interesting. All right, Bill Burt, rapid fire real quick. This is what we do to end the show here. Your pick to come out of the AFC.
Believe it or not, I'm taking the Patriots.
Wow. Okay, there you go. How about the NFC?
I like NFC. No, I don't like San Francisco. Sorry. I'm going to go the Eagles.
Eagles? And,
yep.
Do the Patriots, are you going to take them as the Super Bowl champion?
So I don't know. I think it's going to be tough. If it's the Eagles, I know Belichick will not want to lose to another NFC East team. But I'll tell you what, I feel like something special is going to happen, and I think the Belichick edge, it's going to be either 8-8 or they're going to be a 10-6 kind of team, and they're going to make a run in the playoffs. That's how much I like him. I think Baltimore is going to take a dip down, and Kansas City, the history says they're going to be all full of themselves this year. But they also could run. They could go 15-1 and run the table. I'm betting on Kansas City and Baltimore going down, and that's why I got the Patriots moving ahead of them. But I'm taking a big risk here, and I just think something crazy is going to happen this year. And if it's not the Patriots, it's going to be another team like a Buffalo or something. I wouldn't be shocked. A team unexpected. So I like the Patriots. I'm going to go with the Patriots.
What did that make sense? Buffalo sneaks in and has a huge year in a pandemic. That would be right. My goodness. Most memorable sporting event you ever covered your whole career. What's the first thing that comes to mind?
Hagler Hearns, boxing, 1985, tax day. First Patriots Super Bowl win, right there with it. I've been to the Ryder Cup in '99 was incredible, but I'm going to go Hagler Hearns. That to me, I've seen those 8 minutes. I've seen that probably about 500 times. I'll watch another 500 times. Most exciting sporting event I was ever at.
We're both guys who are very used to being in a newsroom every day, are surrounded by a whole bunch of people that we're not getting through the pandemic. What do you miss most about the newsroom?
I miss the banter going back. I like to bust chops, and I'm not able to do that. I got to call people like you to bust chops, and that's harder to do.
There you go. I think my hair looks pretty good today. And speechless. No comment. Final question. See, my wife's not here. Usually she helps me get it done. She's back to schoolwork.
Hey, I have one of those wives too, so I understand.
Well, you have less hair, see? This is a problem for me. All right, final question here. What is the best professional advice that you've ever received at any point?
Go to the top. So when you want to find something out, you got to do the nitty gritty work, but your goal is to get the big shot, the big guy, the big gal. And I got that from Russ Conway. Got that like 35 years ago. And I think big. I don't look at like a bigger newspaper or the ESPN as a competitor. I look at them all as competitors, and I'm trying to beat them. And I got that mentality from Russ 35 years ago. I do not, I'm very competitive. So go for the top.
Okay, very good. And your favorite athlete too? I always like asking the sports writers that. Who'd you, best athlete to ever cover? Who was the best to you?
Cover? I mean, that's hard to say. I'll say the nicest person I think I've covered in all the years in sports, and there's been some great ones, but Matt Slater of the Patriots. I respect him as much as I do anybody. Just a class individual, a winner, ultra competitive, but always there when you need him, and treats everyone, including media people. That doesn't always happen with respect. I'm a big fan of Matt Slater.
Wow. All right. Good one. I didn't expect that one to come. That's a good way to end. Bill Burt, happy football season, my man.
Can't wait to start. Let's do it again.
Absolutely. This was fun. We'll do it again. Be safe. Hope the family's doing well, and we'll do it again soon. All right?
All right. Thanks, Drew.
See you, man. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
All right. Well, that was fun. Bill Burt. How about that? Excellent guy to get a kind of football season started there. Nobody knows the Patriots better. He's been in the locker rooms, on the practice field for many years now, and he's got even more good stories too. In that amount of time, you can't get into a lot of them. But he told me a story once about how he and Belichick were going to do an interview, and they ended up sitting together. They had it might have been their sons, I'm not sure, but they were watching a high school football game, and the two of them walked out to the 50-yard line after the game, and that's kind of where they did the interview. It's just got a lot of stuff like that. Encyclopedia of football knowledge. So Bill Burt of the Eagle Tribune, thank you, sir. That does it for the week, folks. What else can you say? Happy football season to all of you who love the football. Maybe that is why my wife's not here. She doesn't love the football. But hope you all enjoy the football season. Get into your pools or whatever you do to make it fun. I don't do the fantasy, but I know a lot of people do the fantasy these days. Never into it. I like rooting for the teams, not the individuals. That's my whole thought. But anyway, that's that. Have a great weekend. I think it's supposed to be nice. I don't really know. I didn't really pay attention today. But enjoy the weekend. Be safe. Social distancing, all that good stuff. I hope everybody's doing okay out there. My name is Drew Moholland, live from Drew's house, another edition. Bye-bye. We'll see you next time.